Your kids aren't badly behaved. They're overstimulated. In Japan, calm, confident children aren't raised with more rules, more toys, or more lessons. They're raised by mothers who quietly do 6 things differently. Things most Western parents have never even heard of, let alone tried. Today, I'll show you 6 Japanese housewife secrets that raise children who are calm under pressure, confident without being arrogant, and respectful without being scared. Stay until the end, because I'll give you the simple 2-minute nightly ritual that ties all 6 secrets together, the one Japanese mothers call a heart check. Trust me, secret number 3 is something almost every Western parent does completely backwards. And secret number 5 will probably make you uncomfortable, because it means doing less, not more. Let's begin. Let's start with the secret hiding in plain sight, the one that happens before your child even says a word in the morning. Secret 1. The morning is sacred, not rushed. Picture your average school morning. Alarm blares. You're yelling up the stairs. Someone can't find their shoes, the cereal spills, and you're shoving a child out the door while still buttoning your own coat. Sound familiar? Almost every household in the West runs on morning chaos, and we've just accepted it as normal. In Japan, the morning is treated completely differently. Many Japanese mothers wake up before their children, not to get more done, but to make sure the home itself is calm before the kids' feet even hit the floor. The breakfast table is set in silence. The lights are soft. There's no shouting, no rushing, no frantic searching for missing items, because everything was prepared the night before. Here's why this matters so much psychologically. Children absorb the emotional temperature of the room before they process a single word that's said to them. If the first thing a child's nervous system registers every single morning is stress, urgency, and chaos, that child's baseline for normal becomes anxious. They learn, without anyone teaching them directly, that the world starts a day in crisis mode, and that imprint follows them into the classroom, into friendships, into how they handle pressure for the rest of their lives. Japanese mothers understand something Western parenting books rarely say out loud. A calm morning isn't a luxury. It's a regulation tool. When a child's nervous system starts the day settled, they have more capacity to handle the inevitable bumps later. A hard math problem, a disagreement with a friend, a scraped knee. Their internal stress tank starts the day closer to empty instead of already half full from the rush at home. The shift: prepare the night before. Lay out clothes, pack the bag, decide breakfast, all of it before bed. Wake 15 minutes earlier than you think you need to. Let the first 10 minutes of your child's day be quiet, unrushed, and predictable. That predictability is doing more for their long-term confidence than any pep talk ever could. That's secret 1. Now let's move into the kitchen, because secret 2 is something most Western parents would call too much work. And that's exactly the point. Secret 2. Children do real work, not chores. In most American households, kids are handed simplified, almost symbolic chores. Wipe the table, feed the dog, put your shoes by the door. Helpful, sure, but often treated as optional, and often redone by mom anyway because the child didn't do it right. In Japan, something different happens, and it starts shockingly young. By age 5 or 6, many Japanese children are washing their own dishes, sweeping classroom floors at school, folding their own laundry, and helping prepare real parts of a real meal. Not pretend tasks, but genuine, needed contributions to the household. This isn't about punishment or strictness. It comes from a cultural principle that children are capable, contributing members of the family from a very young age, not just recipients of care. Here's the psychological weight of this. When a child does something that is genuinely needed, not just busy work invented to keep them occupied, their brain registers a completely different message. I am capable. I matter to this household. My effort has real consequences. That is the actual foundation of confidence. Not praise, not stickers, not trophies. Competence. Confidence built on competence is durable. Confidence built only on compliments is fragile, because it collapses the moment someone stops complimenting. There's a quiet psychological trap many Western parents fall into without realizing it. By doing everything for our kids, tying their shoes long after they could do it themselves, packing their bags, cleaning up after them, we think we're being loving. But we're also quietly telling them every single day, I don't trust you to handle this. A child who is never given real responsibility never gets a chance to discover they're capable of holding it. The shift. Give your child one real task this week, not a fake one. Something that actually needs to be done and that you will not silently redo behind their back. Let it be imperfect. A wrinkled folded shirt is a small price for a child who learns, deep down, that they are useful and trusted. Now, secret 3. This is the one I promise would catch most of you off guard, because it's something nearly every Western parent does the exact opposite of with good intentions every single day. Secret 3. Mistakes are met with curiosity, not rescue. Picture this scene. A child drops a glass of milk. In a lot of homes, what happens next is one of two things. A parent rushes in immediately to clean it up while sighing or scolding, or a parent rushes in to comfort the child so fast that the child never actually processes what happened. Either way, the parent takes over. In Japan, there's a different first move. Many mothers pause, let the moment breathe for a second, and then calmly ask something like, "What happened?" Or, "What do you think we should do now?" Instead of immediately fixing it themselves, the child is given a chance to look at the spilled milk, register what occurred, and start figuring out what to do about it, with quiet guidance rather than a rescue. Slow down here. Let this land, because this is subtle but enormous. Every time we swoop in and fix a mistake before a child has a chance to process it, we are unintentionally teaching them that mistakes are emergencies that require an adult. Over years and years of these tiny moments, a child can grow into an adult who panics at the first sign of failure, because failure was always treated as a crisis to be rescued from rather than a normal part being alive. Japanese parenting culture leans on a concept close to the idea of gammon, quiet endurance and self-regulation through small discomforts. A spilled glass of milk isn't a disaster. It's a tiny, low-stakes opportunity to practice exactly the skill your child will need for every much bigger failure later in life. Stay calm, assess what happened, decide what to do next. If they never get to practice this on small things, they will not magically know how to do it on big things. The shift. The next time your child makes a small, low-stakes mistake, pause for 3 full seconds before you react. Ask a question instead of issuing a fix. What happened? What do we do now? Let them sit in it, briefly, with you nearby but not taking over. That 3-second pause is where resilience is quietly built. We've covered the morning, the kitchen, and how mistakes are handled. But Secret 4 moves into something even more personal. How Japanese mothers actually speak to their children, word for word. Secret 4. Praise the effort, never the identity. Here's something almost every well-meaning Western parent says multiple times a day. You're so smart. You're such a good boy. You're so talented. It feels supportive. It feels encouraging. But there's research-backed psychology here that Japanese parenting culture intuitively leans into, and it flips the script on what we think is helpful. When you praise a child's identity, smart, talented, gifted, you're quietly telling them that their value is tied to a fixed trait. And fixed traits feel fragile, because what happens the first time that smart kid faces a problem they can't immediately solve? Their identity is now threatened. Many children in that situation start avoiding hard things altogether, because failing at something would mean they aren't smart anymore, and that's terrifying for a kid whose whole self-concept got built on that one word. Japanese mothers, often without ever reading a parenting study, tend to praise differently. Instead of "you're so smart," it's closer to "you worked on that for a long time," or "look how you kept trying different ways to solve it." The praise lands on the effort, the process, the persistence, things a child has full control over and can repeat on purpose, rather than a fixed label they either have or don't. This single shift in language changes how a child relates to failure for the rest of their life. A child praised for effort sees a hard problem as a chance to work harder. A child praised for identity sees a hard problem as a threat to who they are. One of those children grows into a calm, confident adult who isn't afraid to try difficult things. The other grows into an adult who avoids anything they might not be naturally good at. The shift. Catch yourself this week. Every time you're about to say "you're so smart" or "you're so talented," redirect it to the effort instead. "I saw how hard you worked on that. You didn't give up even when it got tricky. Small sentence, completely different long-term outcome. Now we move into something physical, something about the actual space your child grows up in. And this one connects directly back to everything we talk about with decluttering. Because it turns out, what surrounds your child shapes them just as much as what you say to them. Secret 5. Less stuff, more stillness. Walk into the average American kid's bedroom and you'll likely see a wall of toys, a shelf overflowing with stuffed animals, a tablet, a TV, and enough stimulation to rival a small arcade. We tend to believe that more toys, more activities, more input equals a richer childhood. Japanese parenting culture, particularly in many traditional households, quietly disagrees. Many Japanese children's spaces are simple. A handful of toys, rotated rather than all available at once. Open floor space instead of a room crammed with stimulation. Fewer scheduled activities, more unstructured time. This isn't deprivation. It's a deliberate choice rooted in the understanding that a child's nervous system, like an adult's, can only process so much input before it tips from engaged into overstimulated. Here's what overstimulation actually does to a developing child, and it mirrors exactly what cluttered rooms do to adults. A child surrounded by constant noise, color, and choice doesn't develop deeper focus. They develop a shorter and shorter attention span because their brain has been trained to expect a new stimulus every few seconds. Boredom, which we often try to eliminate immediately by handing a child a screen or a new toy, is actually one of the most important states a developing brain can experience. Boredom is where imagination, self-soothing, and independent problem-solving are born. Every time we rescue a child from boredom, we deny them the chance to develop those internal resources. This is uncomfortable to hear because it means doing less as a parent, not more. It means not buying the toy. It means not filling every afternoon with a structured activity. It means tolerating your child saying, "I'm bored," without immediately fixing it for them. The shift. Rotate your child's toys instead of having everything available at once. Store half. Swap them in periodically, and watch how much deeper they play with fewer options. Build an unscheduled, undirected time, even just 30 minutes a day, where there is no activity planned and no screen offered. Let them sit in boredom long enough to invent something on their own. That stillness is where calm, self-sufficient confidence actually grows. And now, the final secret, the one that ties every previous secret together into a single daily ritual. Secret 6. The family meal is never rushed or distracted. In a lot of Western households, mealtime has quietly become background noise to something else. The TV is on, someone scrolling their phone, kids are eating standing up or in front of a screen, and the meal itself is treated as a logistical pit stop rather than an actual event. In Japan, the meal holds genuine weight in the family structure. Phones are away. The TV is typically off. There's often a small ritual phrase said before eating, "Itadakimasu," a moment of gratitude before the meal begins, and another said at the end. The meal is unhurried. Conversation happens. Children are expected to sit, to participate, and to stay until everyone is finished, not bolt the moment their own plate is empty. This daily ritual is doing far more than feeding the body. It's the one guaranteed moment in the day where a child is a parent's full, undivided attention, with no screen competing for it. In a world where children are constantly competing with a phone for eye contact, a single distraction-free meal every day sends an unmistakable signal. You matter more than the notification. That signal, repeated daily over years, builds a kind of quiet emotional security that no amount of expensive enrichment activities can replace. It also teaches patience and social regulation in a low-stake setting, waiting for everyone to be served, listening while someone else talks, sitting through a conversation that isn't always about them. These are small, repeated reps of self-control that compound over years into a genuinely calmer, more emotionally regulated child. The shift. Pick one meal a day, even if it's just breakfast or a quick dinner, and make it fully screen-free for both you and your child. No TV, no phone on the table. Even 10 unhurried. Present minutes a day adds up to hundreds of hours of undivided attention over a single year. That's Secret 6, the 2-minute heart check. Now, as promised, here's the nightly ritual that ties all 6 secrets together, the one many Japanese mothers use right before bed, sometimes called a version of the heart check. It's simple. Right before your child falls asleep, sit with them for 2 minutes. Ask just 2 questions. First, what was one good thing about today? Second, was there anything that felt hard today? That's it. You're not solving anything. You're not lecturing. You're simply giving your child 2 minutes of calm, undivided presence at the very end of the day, the same way the morning began with calm and unhurried presence. This tiny ritual does something powerful. It bookends your child's entire day in stillness and connection. Calm at the start, calm at the end, no matter what chaos happened in between at school or with friends. Over months and years, that consistent bookend becomes a felt sense of safety that a child carries with them into adulthood, long after they've forgotten the specific words you said. So here's everything in one breath. Calm. Confident kids aren't raised by parents who do more. More toys, more activities, more praise, more rescuing. They're raised by parents who do less, but with more intention. A calm morning instead of a rushed one. Real responsibility instead of symbolic chores. Space to sit with a mistake instead of an instant rescue. Praise for effort instead of identity. A simpler room instead of a stimulating one. A present meal instead of a distracted one. And 2 quiet minutes at the end of the day to close the loop. You don't need to be a perfect parent. You need to be a present one. Now I want to hear from you. Of these 6 secrets, which one is the hardest for you personally? Be honest. Comment the number 1 through 6 below. And if you've already tried any of these in your own home, tell me what changed. If this gave you even one idea you're going to try tonight, send it to one other parent you know is exhausted and could use it too. I'll see you in the next one.